The art of running. The beginner's mindset. "2,000 feet, just over 3 miles. We're gonna hit the boulder field up here and get down to today's message. And even set the tripod up. Look at that. It's gonna be a little noisy with the water, but hey, that's what the mountains are all about. Shut my watch off. So I mentioned a few videos ago that my Cool and Possible project is all about having one runner per household worldwide and to help unify the world through running. And YouTube, I have decided, is going to be part of that project and part of my way of getting that message out and part of my way of creating more runners in this world. But more importantly, it's gotta involve you, and I can't do this alone. And many creators on YouTube ask for, hey, give me a thumbs up if you like the video or subscribe, and I'm not about that. You know, this is just a platform for there to be a message. And what I will ask though and request, just like you ask and request questions of me and request for certain subjects on this video, that maybe you play the role of the courier, and the courier is going to become a bigger part of this channel. And so therefore I'm requesting out of you to be a courier of the message. And if you feel this is helpful to you, or maybe you know someone it's going to be helpful to, pass it along and be that courier. And there's something really powerful about being part of a team and feeling like you're part of a mission and helping to pass along the message, pass along how important running is to us, you, me, and all of the watchers out there of this channel. So I'm just gonna throw that out there, and let maybe today be the beginning of that, is that today's video is gonna be about the beginner's mindset and how there's a couple things for today, 5 things that we can really focus on to help us as beginning runners. But there's also a part that we can all take from these 5 points that can apply to any type of runner. So that's what today's about, and I'm gonna head up the boulder field and we're gonna check out on these 5 subjects, and hopefully you find it inspiring to pass it along. So here we go. Gonna head up towards the middle and the south Teton. Number 5, and these are in no particular order. They're all important, and put them maybe in your own order of what you feel is the best priority. It's a big rock. Number 5, frequency. Today, I haven't felt that great running up. I mentioned that there was a lot of tourists early on, and so I had to run a little bit harder than I wanted to, and I just didn't feel great throughout maybe the whole climb up to the rock field and the meadows. And I think it's partly because I have not been able to be frequent this past few weeks because of the snow. I've taken a lot of days off and just kind of done a little short, easy runs here and there, and I think how I'm feeling today is a product of not being very frequent or consistent. And this number 5 point is for beginning runners, for any runner, to be as consistent and as frequent as possible. And I like to use the simple example of what I mean by frequency is, instead of running 3-4 days a week for 45 minutes, it would be better to run almost every day for 20 or 30 minutes. And that's what I mean by frequency. Think about doing less, but more often. Again, 3 or 4 days a week, you're doing more, maybe more times each day, versus going 5, 6, 7 days a week where you're doing even maybe 15 minutes when you're first starting out, 10 minutes. be frequent throughout the week. And fitness likes frequency. Number 4 is form, technique. A lot of videos on my channel about form and technique, so just check those out. I'm kind of leave it at that. But the most important thing is that now that you're starting to run, this is the best time to work on your form. Develop good technique as you start to build your endurance. Whereas it's harder for a veteran runner to change things because they've done it so long. Okay, so be motivated by that clean slate. You're just starting. Start your endurance and proper run form at the same time and build it together. Ooh, that's warm. Number three is a big one. If there's maybe a priority or only one you really listen to, it's maybe this one. But again, you decide. Number 3, don't make your runs too difficult at first. So first and foremost, do not see running as a form of fitness or as a form of getting in shape or as a form of losing weight when you're first starting, because that's gonna completely change your mindset. I want your mindset to, I want to go out, be as frequent as possible, and I want to keep my running as easy as possible. Even if it's 5 minutes at first, 10 minutes, 15 minutes at first. Keep it as easy as you can. Maybe even do walk running, where you run for a minute, walk for a minute, run for a minute, walk for a minute. I did that running up. I ran hard because of all the tourists, and so I ran too hard for the climb, so I had to hike a little bit. So I did intervals, okay? Elite athletes do intervals. There's no reason why beginning runners shouldn't do intervals, especially when they first start. Keep the level of effort as easy as you can. Nose breathe when you first start. Run for as long as you can while you're nose breathing. When you can no longer nose breathe, stop and walk. Let the heart rate come down. And when you're able to nose breathe again, start up running again. So number 3, keep the effort as easy as you can with that frequency, and through time, you'll slowly build things. And the key here is by keeping it easy, you're gonna start to really enjoy it. Because when we first start running, it's really hard. So you gotta keep it as easy as you can so you enjoy it, you don't get broken down. That's where the frequency comes in. Doing less more often is much better as you first start to keep things enjoyable. So keep the running enjoyable, okay, until you get over that hump of being consistent. Numero dos. I can't tell you how many times in talking with runners, wherever I speak, wherever I give a talking, a clinic, there's so many runners preface their statement with, I'm not competitive, but. And let me tell you, most runners aren't competitive in the way you think. When we use that word competitive, it's often meant to compare yourself with others, or to win, or to place, or to compare your results with others. And yes, a lot of runners do that. But I have to tell you, in coaching for 20 years, coaching professionals, coaching upper elite age groupers, coaching beginners, is that the majority of runners regardless of their ability, regardless of their goals, are competitive within themselves to do as best they can. And that's all relative. So I want you, number 2 is to be aware. Every good athlete has awareness. And I want you to be aware of how often, either inside your head internally or externally in talking with others, one of the words you begin to use describing your running and maybe how negative they are. But more importantly, reflect on that word competitive and reflect on what that word means to you. And listen to me and let me tell you, most runners are not competitive in that way that we think. Be competitive with yourself. Be competitive every day with yourself. As you put those 2 feet down on the floor, getting out of bed, be competitive with yourself to make it a good day for your running. Be frequent. Work on your form. Keep it easy. That's being competitive with yourself and battling all those negative thoughts. So we all can be competitive in our own way because we all are, I believe. I believe we are all competitive in our own way. It's just not how we think and use that word usually. So, number 2, be aware of what you think about what competitive means and maybe alter that word to competitive on a daily basis of achieving your goal for the day. And that will lead us into number 1. All right. Number 1, with the Tetons in the background. Number 1 is most people make their daily goals too big and their long-term goals too small. We want to turn that around. We want to challenge ourselves with our long-term goal. That long-term goal shouldn't be small, it should be big. It should be something we don't think we could do, that gives us the daily patience, the daily grind of frequency, of everything else we've talked about. And therefore, maybe look to make your daily goals a little bit more tangible, a little easier. Start out with that 5 or 10 minutes each day. Run around the block. Don't make the daily goal too big and too challenging because you're not going to be able to sustain it, and then we quit or we get discouraged. We turn around. We go a few days without running and we get discouraged. So start to see how maybe in the past, for all of us, regardless of whether it's running, work goals, or whatever, is that, hey, are your daily goals maybe a little too big, that grind you down, that wear you out, and therefore you're not going after big goals? Look to turn it around. Go after big goals. Don't worry about whether you can do it or not. You're not going to know until you start. Okay, and that's the great thing about goals, is that if we all, human nature to want to know whether we're going to achieve something or not before we set our sights on that. It's human nature. We're all going to look to that unknown and want to know what's going to happen before we start. And we're never going to know until we start. So quit wanting to know what's going to happen. Just start contemplating what you really want to do with your running, what you really want to do with your life. And pick a huge goal that scares you, that is the unknown, that doesn't think you can do it, that is the cool impossible. And then start working backwards and say, okay, today I just need to run around the block. Tomorrow I just need to run around the block, making it as easy as I can. And make the daily grind successful. Because then it's what you start to fall in love with, is the daily stuff that makes you feel good. The goal's really not the important part. The big goals there to just give you the daily purpose. And it's the purpose, that daily purpose, that we fall in love with, that makes us feel good, that all us runners know is so important and why we truly ultimately run. Okay? So look to see if your goals aren't big enough and turn that around and make them big. Make them as big as these mountains. As big as these mountains. And then make the daily successful, like my hike today. All right. Welcome to the Tetons. What a day. I'm gonna keep going a little bit and turn around and make it back because I gotta do some coaching. So thanks again, everybody. Again, pass this along, be the couriers, be the courier for the channel. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time as always. Peace.